Well, hello everyone, and welcome to a dark face James. There we are. There we go. It's all lit up again. Welcome back to another episode of the Mind Over Madness podcast with me and Sean. Yeah, we're back again for another week. I completely forgot we were filming it today, so I had to rush to get my stuff. But I have got some stuff, so I guess we'll follow with our normal thing of we'll do news, and then we'll go into the gaming, then into our movies and Netflix, and then we'll do our random stuff at the end. For those of you who are not aware of how this goes, we're on episode 14. Go catch up. But yeah. But first off, how are you been, Sean? How's things going?
Yes, things are going all right. You know, obviously the recent shocking news that happened this week is a bit of a downer, but I suppose living with it.
Yeah.
Not really affecting me too much, but that's all right. It'll affect some more than others.
That's the main thing. As long as you're doing all right.
Yeah. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah. Other than the fact that I forgot today, so I've been like editing all morning, and then I completely forgot this until you messaged me about it, and I was like, oh shit.
Oh, you didn't have time to put your face on.
Yeah. So no makeup today. Like I wear it anyway, but you know.
That's a treat for all of us.
It is. You can see the bags under my eyes for some reason, even though I got like a full, what was it, 7 hours of sleep. That's not bad. That's good for me.
Yeah, it's the lighting.
Yeah.
This is why I have direct lighting on my face.
Yeah,
Natural light.
Natural light. It works very well for you. Makes you look beautiful.
Okay, shall we start our first section?
Go on then, go.
So obviously this week Boris has announced that he's putting pressure on the brake pad.
Yes.
And stopping the easing of restrictions for now. So, for example, bowling alleys and some leisure places were supposed to open on the 1st of August, which is today, but this will be got tomorrow. So they're going to be delayed for at least a fortnight. So.
I mean, not surprising.
So he's seeing that the numbers are the rising of the cases, but I mean, could that be down to more tests being done, or because apparently there's like more cases, but there's less death, or there's about the same deaths. So I don't know. Maybe more testing is why there's more cases. You know.
Yeah.
It goes hand in hand.
I don't know. I think it's. I don't know. I think we all kind of expected there to be a little bit of a wobble, especially when stuff started opening again. But I'm glad. Well, I'll say this much: instead of giving him crap all the time, I'm glad that he at least did stick to his word and was like, "Okay, yeah. Spike, close that.
Use that brake pedal."
We will not hesitate to put on the brakes and slow down and cook the sausage.
He's such a way with words.
I don't get it, man. I watched his like live TV thing. It was not. Most of it was just him talking crap.
Yeah, and making hand gestures.
Cook the pastry. It's going to be a delicious one. And then once it's open, we'll put the brakes off and we'll start going at 70 miles an hour, and it'll be wonderful.
Like, he doesn't even need one of those person that signs, like...
Yeah,
he doesn't have the hand gestures himself. Yeah.
I feel so sorry for that person. They must have...
But yeah, on Thursday, Greater Manchester and Lancashire and certain other places, including Leicester, have been put on like a semi-lockdown where the households cannot meet in a house, like so you can no longer go and see your friend in a different house, but everything else is kind of open as usual.
Yeah.
But it's just like within your household things have been changed so that you're not allowed to see anyone or meet anyone. Even if you go into a restaurant, you're not allowed to meet a different household. You can go with your same household, but you can't go with a different one. Yeah. But if they happen to be there, then oh no, what do we do there?
Oh yeah. What a coincidence.
So obviously this is Greater Manchester, where I just come under that bracket, so that's affecting me as well. It's like, what the hell? Yeah. It's like it's all right, because I was talking a few weeks ago about it's all right with being Leicester until it's like my doorstep, but now it is on my doorstep kind of.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a bit strange. Obviously the way they announced it as well was really awkward. They announced it at 9:30 on Thursday night. And the laws changed on 12 o'clock to make it illegal for you to be with your friend in their house or like meeting them. So like everyone's a bit like, whoa, what the hell do we do?
It came out of nowhere.
it was Matt Hancock who was like, he almost seemed to have like an accusatory tone. I think 3 times he mentioned that how everyone was breaking the rules indoors, so kind of suggesting that we're to blame for all this. It's like, what?
I don't think it's the people's. I don't think it's anyone's fault in that sense. But I definitely think the fact that he's trying to push the blame on to the public says a lot. I mean, let's face it. We've always known Matt Hancock has something in common with his second name.
Yes, minus the Han.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. He's a strange one because he tends to fumble his words a lot more than anyone. And yet he's still somehow being allowed to talk to the public. I don't get it. He's a bit incompetent in my eyes. I think he says one thing, but doesn't do it all.
Very blunt, and he doesn't have that same charisma as Boris does.
Yeah.
He's more a man of the facts, but he doesn't care about anything else.
Yeah. As much shit as I give Boris, at least he has some charisma to pull off being a dickhead in public.
Yeah. Exactly. He can make you laugh at the same time as cry.
Yeah. Matt Hancock does not have that ability. He's just unlikable.
I believe so that applies to like England. I think we're gonna have to get a textbook to check these things, but it applies to England.
I think I did touch on that in later.
I believe there is some more things as of today. Wales have opened up gyms and stuff, I believe.
Well, yes, and then there's more stuff I believe opening up on the 15th.
Right.
So I think swimming pools and stuff are going to be opened up 15th. I think they pushed that back for 5 days for some reason. They were like, "Hey, let's open everything but these."
Yeah.
To look forward to.
I believe your first minister was like, "Oh, I've seen what's happened in the north, and I've taken heed of it. So 2 weeks later, maybe you might get some." I believe Wrexham's a hotspot as well.
Yeah, I think one of the stories that I'm going to talk about in a bit for the news that I got some clips for is they did touch on it a bit, and they were a bit essentially what's happening is the minister's kind of stuck between a road and a hard place, really, in that sense. He's they're not closing the borders to England. People can still come down from England, people can still go up to England, but you have to abide by the rules in England. But then when they come to Wales, they don't have to abide by those laws. So it's you could technically visit your sister in Wales and you wouldn't be breaking the law, but if she came to see you, you'd be breaking the law. Because they're trying not to close down the borders again, but it's well, isn't that just going to cause more problems down here?
I know. It's just it seems to be kind of putting it down to everyone individually, to make their own kind of sensible choices. Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the public aren't very good at that, apparently.
Yeah.
That,
Evidently, I mean, yesterday, obviously, it was a lovely sunny day again, 37.8 degrees in London or something. That was scorching. And all the beaches in Bournemouth are packed again, full of people. Let's put warnings out, stay away from our beaches because they're packed.
Yeah.
So people aren't that sensible.
Yeah, sadly. I do actually have some quotes we'll get into in a moment from some younglings who are on the beach. So
younglings.
Interesting. Younglings.
Well, feel free to pop over to those if you want.
Well, going off of carrying on with what you were talking about, which is the beach stuff. Literally, I'll just read through the information I've got again. It'll come up on screen.
I'm guessing they generally didn't care.
But yeah, well, one of the quotes that is on there, which we'll get into in a bit, which is the second one. This is the first quote, so I'll get into the first one first, which is one Sunseeker, 18-year-old Lizzie Jones from Portsmouth, who was on the beach with a dozen friends, said she felt perfectly safe and didn't feel like she was putting anyone at risk. Quote, "We're out here in the fresh air. People are a bit close, but I don't think there's much of a danger." End quote. Tom, who was on the beach with a group of school and college friends, aged 17 to 18, who had travelled to Bournemouth on the train from Southampton, said, quote, "It feels safe to me. I don't know anyone who has had the coronavirus. Until I do, I don't think it will feel real to me." End quote. Probably one of the most ironic statements anyone could have. It's oh, and it's not real. It's not affected me or anyone in my life, which is
I mean, what he's saying is probably right for him, but it's like he's not really got a good opinion to have. Like, it's not very selfless.
Yeah, I think not just that; it's a dangerous mindset to have as well. Just because no one's had it in your vicinity,
like it doesn't exist because I haven't had it or anyone I know.
Yeah, that's a dangerous mindset.
So I'm going to travel far to go to a beach and not social distance and not follow the rules.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why then
put other people in danger.
That's why Matt Hancock likes to blame us, because there's people like that.
Or it's also the fact that he could have had it without being symptomatic as well, you know.
Exactly, yeah. That's the scary thing about it.
Yeah.
The leader of the BCP Council, Vicky Slade, said the results were excited to welcome people. She said Bournemouth and Poole were stretched in June when up to 500,000 people arrived at a time when hotels, restaurants and pubs were closed. Quote, I was appalled at the resulting littering, illegal parking, antisocial behaviour and personal abuse that our hard-working teams had to deal with, she said. End quote. So... yeah, that's what I got from that. Again, the article's down below if you want to go read all of it. I'm obviously not going to go through every single part of it, especially on here. That would take us forever. But you get the general gist. A lot of people had their like cars impounded and stuff because they were like parking in the middle of motorways and the roads and stuff when they're just trying to go to the beach.
Yeah.
Have some common sense. Just because things have opened up does not mean you can stand right next to strangers anymore. That's, again,
I mean,
stupid.
Yeah, I know what it's kind of like when you're trying to find a space to park. You're like, oh, it's a kind of very stressful situation when it's all full and the people are legally parked everywhere.
Yeah.
But that doesn't give you the right to just go, all right, I'll just park there wherever I want.
Yeah, exactly. That's not how.
Bang the blinkers on. Hey, presto, free parking.
It's not how it works.
Some people do that though. It's so annoying.
I know, it's ridiculous, man. But to lead off of that, some quotes from my Minister of Wales.
Prime Minister.
That's the next article, so again, down below. Wales to ease COVID-19 lockdown restrictions despite the England pause. First Minister allows families to be reunited and says there are no plans to close the border. The Labour-led government said it had no plans to close the border between England and Wales, but said it was ready to reimpose stay-local restrictions if there were fresh Welsh outbreaks. The First Minister, Mark Drakeford, said it was important for people who had been separated to get back together before autumn. However, he stressed the coronavirus crisis would not be over by Christmas. Drakeford said the lockdown was being eased in a careful step-by-step way, and most of the headroom it believed it had was being used to make sure more family and friends could catch up. He said, quote, we are facing the likelihood of a resurgence of the virus over the autumn and winter. This will not be over by Christmas. Yeah. The UK government announced on Thursday night that people from different households in Greater Manchester, parts of East Lancashire, West Yorkshire and Leicester would not be able to meet each other indoors or in their gardens, commencing on the development, Drakeford said, commenting, I keep thinking that's commencing. English is not my thing. Drakeford said, quote, all of this is bound to give us pause for thought, end quote. But he said it would not lead to North and South Wales having different COVID-19 restrictions. Quote, I don't anticipate in a blanket way a different regime for the north of Wales and the south of Wales, he said. If there are local flare-ups, we will mobilise our public health effort, our test, trace, protect system to bear down on those outbreaks, as we have shown we can do successfully in Anglesey and in Merthyr Tydfil over recent weeks. So yeah. That's kind of the gist.
He's a very sensible man, it seems, at the moment.
He's definitely going in the right direction, especially with the fact, I'm glad that finally someone at the top has said this is still a pandemic and it's not going to be gone by Christmas, so for fuck's sake stop saying it will be.
Whoever said that, was it Boris?
I think Boris said he wanted, I'm not quoting here, but I think a month or two ago he was caught saying that he was hoping to get back to a mostly normality kind of feel by Christmas. And Mark's just like, mate, this ain't going away by Christmas.
I know.
You're wearing your face masks or you're getting fined. Choose.
It's like we know from, game development companies and all this, like you never put a date on something because it just never ends well.
You're never going to meet that deadline, even if you try.
You just put pressure on everyone, like for no reason.
Yeah, it's just a silly thing to do on an unnecessary thing. I mean, why rush something like this?
Yeah.
You know, especially when it's as serious as this.
Yeah, he seems to be, Mark seems to be gauging the public response for everything our government says in England, and then saying the right things in Wales, which is good.
Yeah.
And yeah, blanket bans on. He's not going to like do different for North and South, which is good. Because wherever you go in England, there seems to be different rules everywhere now. So, like, because we're on the border of like Greater Manchester and Merseyside, so if you stand on one side of the garden, you literally can't see your family or friends or anything. If you stand on the other side of the garden, you can.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
I think just to quickly end my new stuff is I actually managed to find a screenshot of the cases. I think this was posted yesterday. So for you guys who are watching this, it'll be 2 days ago. So that obviously double check these things. But the number of confirmed cases in the UK went up to 303,181. New cases was 880, and the death toll was at 46,119. A total of confirmed cases coming from England alone was 261,348, with Scotland in second with 18,627, Wales with 17,258, and Northern Ireland with 5,948. So a fair amount.
Just a few. Just a few, darling.
Yes.
Yeah, I think just everyone needs to do what's best for their area,
Yeah.
And when they say local lockdown, like the whole of Greater Manchester put in lockdown, when like Wigan specifically, like near where I am, it's like there's very few cases. It just seems a bit ridiculous to like put a blanket thing on it for the whole borough. But yeah,
it's one of those things, isn't it? It's like, are they being too careful, or are they being, careful?
Yeah.
But because they're being over careful, it's a better thing, or is it a worse thing because you're taking too much freedom away?
Yeah, it is one of those things where we're moaning either way, like either they didn't act at all or they acted too soon.
Yeah.
So because they're seeing the first signs of a second wave, where they want to kind of attack it when it's here rather than when it goes up there. So that's fair enough on their thinking. But I mean, they just need to go about it a bit better. They need to think about it a bit more. See. Although
Boris in his live TV appearance was like, "Oh no, we're not. It's not a second wave. It's just a shapes. I can't English today, man. It's a slight peak in all the cases and stuff. It's like, Boris, just call it a second wave. It's on its way. Winter is coming. Let's start acting like Game of Thrones. Winter is coming. It's on its way."
Yeah. Well, I hope they won't look like the White Walkers when we get COVID.
That would be really weird and freaky, but yeah.
Related to that, I suppose, is the Spanish quarantine. Like they've announced, like if you go to Spain on your holiday, you're not insured, and you have to come back and quarantine for 14 days when you get back. Like, seem to be out of the blue.
Yeah.
I mean, there were cases of some people getting on the plane, and then there was one rule set then, and then when they got off the plane, it was a different rule set. So, and Spain doesn't even have as many cases as we do, so the Spanish government were like, what the hell is going on here?
I mean, what I don't understand is why would someone go on holiday right now anyway to another country? Why would you even risk it? Just stay in your country.
They fell into the trap of thinking it's over, like...
Yeah.
It just seems like this government kind of builds up things like Super Saturday and stuff like that, like, it's all over now.
That's the worst thing they did.
And then they kind of slam the brakes on and then they just go, aha, I told you so, it wasn't away. But it seems like they're like a media circus.
Definitely.
But yeah, did you have anything else on quarantine? Because I do have some...
I don't know. I've unfortunately gone through all my news, except for one thing, but we'll get onto that later. It's just nothing to do with quarantine, but...
Okay. Well, this is nothing to do with quarantine, but it's to do with Boris. Boris's bikes. So he's really pushing these bikes. I don't know what it is about Boris, but he's just obsessed with bikes.
Get a cross trainer, Boris. I've got one now. It works really well. It's much
When he was the mayor of London, he did the whole bike scheme. Yeah, fair enough, it works for London, but now he wants to push bikes on everyone.
Yeah.
So if you go to the doctors, say you don't want to do any exercise, you get a free bike now.
The fuck.
And they've announced these like £50 bike repair vouchers if you want to fix your bike. What is this scheme like? So yeah, he's pushing bikes and wants more bikes in circulation and through the NHS as well. So what do we think about that? Like,
I mean,
bikes
it's a good thing, I guess, because it is exercise, right? I'm
Yeah.
not saying that doing a bit more exercise wouldn't hurt everyone in this world, right? I think a little bit. I think everyone should do their little bit. But why just bikes? Why is he only like only a bike will fix your problems? That's not
Yeah.
how it works. For one thing, you can't lose weight and like focus on. We talked about this last week when we were talking about diets and stuff. If your mental health isn't there, there is no point because you are not going to. It's a difficult thing, and just because it's a bike does not make it any safer. You
I
know, the
know.
roads are not exactly the same. In Wales, if you're on a bicycle, you're more likely to be killed by fury. People in Wales do not like cyclists on the road, so you are putting
Yeah.
yourself in danger.
I mean, yeah, I personally don't. I'm not comfortable riding a bike on roads around where I am. So I'd much prefer like some kind of free entry to a gym once a month or something like that. Like it's just something, or a voucher off something from a sports shop, like to get some running shoes or something. Like bikes are not my thing, so you should focus on health in general. And I know they're trying to. They stopped like bad foods 2-for-1 deals and stuff like that as a kind of kickstarting a healthier Britain because it's like you need to lose weight before the second peak.
That's another thing. It's an unrealistic amount of time for someone, let's say, that is overweight and is unhealthy and needs to lose weight. You're giving them an unrealistic time frame to drop a lot of weight. You're going to make people worse because people are going to get more mental health issues now due to you being like, you're fat, lose weight. It's like, Boris, have you looked in the mirror? Like, fucking hell, mate, you can't say anything. Like, I know he said in his TV interview, he was like, I understood when I was in hospital and I suffered with COVID. I realise now how important physical health is. No, you don't. But there are so many ways you can lose weight instead of just cycling, right? You can go running. You could buy a cross trainer for your house, an electric bike for your house, just inside. You could buy a running machine. You could jog on the spot. You can do jumping jacks. There are so many other things you can do inside your home. You don't have to just go for a cycle. It's healthy. It's good. If you enjoy biking, great. A success. Good for you. But not everyone is into that. You know, not everyone's going to have the confidence. I know I bloody well don't have the confidence to get on a bike and start riding around, having people watch me. The last time I went on a bicycle, I got hit by a bloody bus. So I don't like them. But I don't know. It's just this weird obsession that he has with bicycles. I don't get it. Is it because it's the easiest sort of thing? I don't know.
Could be, yeah. I think it's just because he loves bikes, and obviously he can't even take bikes anymore because he's the prime minister. He's got to get like driven everywhere now, so that's ironic.
It's ironic. He'll probably start creating a clean energy scheme of let's get bike cyclists to bike for energy. That's a great way of doing it.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's a good idea. And they say, oh, if you're overweight, you've got a higher risk of catching the thing. But if you're overweight, you're at a higher risk of catching everything, and being worsely affected by all sorts of things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
COVID is definitely dangerous. Don't get me wrong, and being overweight is definitely not going to help you in that sense. But if you go to a doctor, right, this is something I didn't touch on when we did the diet thing, which I'm going to say now. BMI is a complete load of shit. Look it up. When BMI was created by someone who was a mathematician, by the way, not a health expert, he even stated that it shouldn't be used to measure health because it is not accurate. So if a doctor says, oh, your BMI is too high, you're unhealthy, tell them to fuck off.
Yeah.
Because your BMI has nothing... It has a set amount to do with your health, but it is not the overall thing. It's ridiculous. I don't know.
It's not like a one-size-fits-all category thing.
Exactly. And this bike scheme, although I do think it's a good idea, I think he is trying to push it too much right now. There are more important things to be focusing on than spending, what was it, like 2 million or something? Was it more than
something
that?
like that.
So I don't know how much, but like a considerable amount of taxpayer money on making like bike lanes and stuff like that, which is going to take years to implement anyway.
I know. And is it the time to like introduce more schemes that are going to cost the government money? Like, I'm sure they've already shelved out enough.
I don't even know how much the UK is in debt now, but it is a lot.
Like, how the hell are they going to make this back? More borrowing. Yeah. We've got to stay friends with Trump.
And of course, he's still pushing Brexit. He's still not willing to push that back. So That's happening in November, I believe.
Mm.
Hey, Boris, you've got no money. How do you think you're going to fucking cope?
And mentioning Trump before, that leads me on to my final news.
Go on.
Trump wants to ban TikTok.
Well, I
Because
can't... Well,
I think it's very likely that he's going to actually ban it today.
Yeah. I think that's a bit extreme. I think they definitely... Right. I know that most of their big stars are like under the age of 16, ironic. But they need to increase the age you have to be to do it.
Yeah.
16 minimum, you know, like not 13, that's ridiculous. You know, no wonder you've had so many, you know, predatory problems on that fucking app. But, you know, it should be 16 minimum on any kind of social media. I know people can lie about it and whatever, but TikTok is a little more difficult considering you can't make a video and make yourself look 16.
Yeah.
Not that convincingly, anyway.
I mean, I wouldn't personally download TikTok or anything, so I don't really like stuff like that. But like I can see like the benefits of it. Throughout this lockdown, people have been making dances and, you know, whatever they've been doing, funny videos, and a bit of humour gets everyone through.
Yeah.
But there's also like the darker side of it, where there's these challenges and stuff, isn't there?
Yeah.
Putting people in danger and like influencing younger minds which aren't like developed enough to realise the danger that they're in.
Yeah. I think it's... I get where he's coming from, and this is the only time I'll ever say this. I think he is doing it for a good reason, but I think he's missing the point completely.
Yeah.
And he's trying to take it to the extreme instead of just being like, I'll impose an age restriction on it that has to be followed by law. I'll just outright ban it. Like he tried to ban Twitter because Twitter was like, you're providing false information, you thick fuck. You know, so...
And I think one of the main reasons he wants to ban it is just simply because it's a Chinese app. Yeah. And he thinks that American data is going to the Chinese government, but TikTok have vehemently denied that they share any information with the Chinese government. So.
I mean, not that they'd admit to it anyway, but you know.
But yeah, it's a Chinese app. They're the Chinese virus spreaders.
Does he realise that the founder, I believe the founder of it anyway, is American? It's a Chinese app.
Probably one of his pals.
American, you know. Yeah, probably. Hey, Trump. Actually, that's a question I have for you. How's that case with Epstein going? You know, you're actually under investigation as well. If you've forgotten, Donald. How's that going for you?
I think Prince Andrew's sweating more than Donald at the moment.
Yeah, he's actually sweating again.
Because at least Trump actually cut him off for 10 years before he died, whereas Andrew decided to go on a party weekend to apologise.
Oh, no, it wasn't a party weekend to apologise. It was a weekend that he told him on the first day that he wasn't able to be his friend anymore, but then stayed for 3 more days.
Because he's too honourable.
Liz must be having a hell of a time of it. Queen, just like, I'm so sick of this shit.
And, yeah, obviously, Ghislaine will be having a whale of a time in prison as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was, we covered some of that last week.
Yeah.
And that's a large topic to segue into, so I think that wraps up our news section.
Oh, the only other thing that I had for news was the Johnny Depp trial and Amber Heard trial has finally wrapped, and it was shown that Johnny Depp was not guilty.
Yeah, well...
What a shock! Would have seen it. Amber Heard lied? No. No, I actually don't know all the ins and outs, so we'll talk about that probably more next week when I've had a chance to look it up, but
yeah.
I do know that Johnny wasn't charged with anything. I think they're both sucking up their legal fees, and it was all just a basic load of crap that didn't need to happen.
Yeah, we need all the dirty laundry out in public, and I believe a final decision will be made in September or something. I don't know. We fully settled it, but
probably be like,
but yeah,
this much.
Yeah, the only winners in that case are the lawyers.
Absolutely, they have made him mint.
I know, it's just like rolling in it right now.
Yeah.
That both stars are worth millions.
Yeah.
So yeah, shall we talk about some games?
Oh, let's do it. Have you got anything good?
I haven't got much in this section, but I have got one thing here.
Go on.
So there's rumours about the Xbox X multiplayer being free.
Ooh. That I didn't know.
Because obviously they've got the Game Pass thing, which you mentioned the other week.
Yeah.
So maybe that's going to be their main source of kind of income for that, and they're kind of going to take the hit on making the multiplayer free. And people are wondering if PlayStation will do the same.
No.
So yeah, I don't see how they do that, because they've got the PS Plus, which obviously you get cloud saves, you get 2 free games a month, you get online multiplayer.
Yeah.
They've got PS Now as well, which is like a game service which streams games to your console, like some older ones and some newer ones. So whether they could merge them together somehow and make multiplayer free, I don't know.
I don't think they make anywhere near as much as the Game Pass does on their PlayStation Now, so I think they're not going to be able to. I think if they could probably do it, but the likelihood is they're not going to.
They're waiting till Xbox announces it.
Yeah, I think Microsoft are just kind of like, mate, we're making stacks, just make that free for them. Yeah, bring the fan base over, because I think they know PS5 is being looked at more than theirs.
Oh yeah.
So they're kind of like, how can we coax people? And they're like, make it online free.
And they want to kind of change the game a bit, don't they?
Yeah.
They want to entice people back, because obviously Xbox has been significantly lower than PlayStation for the past, I don't know, 10 years or so.
Quite a long time, though. Since 360, definitely.
They want to kind of close the gap, like say, oh, well, our multiplayer is free, and if you get the Game Pass, you get all the first-party games.
Yeah.
Straight away.
Which, to be fair, is pretty fucking tempting. But, yeah.
But I think PlayStation still has the better exclusives.
They do indeed, yeah.
So, yeah. That's all I had, really, for games, though.
Well, I finished Assassin's Creed Syndicate. That's something. Finished that, and I finished Jack the Ripper DLC. And actually,
how did that stack up?
By the end of it, I actually really liked it. There were still a bunch of glitches and issues with it that were the same from Unity. The protagonists are fun. They're enjoyable. 2 ways to play it, stealth or non-stealth. The Jack the Ripper DLC was a bit disappointing, I'll be honest. I was really looking forward to that, but it wasn't great. But the rest of it was pretty good. I think Unity and that are pretty much on the same level for decentness and gameplay and stuff. Unity did stuff better than Syndicate, and Syndicate did some stuff better than Unity. I think that's the easiest way to say it. So I started playing Borderlands 2 then.
Okay.
I've taken a break from the Assassin's Creed series. I think I fucking need it. But,
I mean, yeah, you would have been ready. You've been over the edge if you played Origins and stuff.
I know how big those games are as well, so it's like, I think I played Rogue. Yeah, I played Assassin's Creed, Rogue, and then I played Unity, and then I played Syndicate. So I was like, no, that can go away for now. I'm going to go back to my fun, piss-takey games of Borderlands. As always, they're fun. But, off the topic of what I'm playing, I also have some gaming news.
Oh.
So, there was a PS5 news headline, again, the article's down below. The PlayStation 5 could have one of the shortest life cycles in gaming history, however. Which, not great. However, there is one negative to all this, with a very particular revelation being uncovered in recent days. That happened to be the life cycle of the actual console. According to sources in the back end of the supply chain in Taiwan, as reported by DigiTimes, the lifespan of the console could only be a measly 5 years. This is down from the previous lifespan of 6 to 7 years. Disappointing stuff. So I kind of want to, if you look at this article, by the way, down below, they kind of list off how long each console, all the way back from the NES, like back in the day, how long those consoles kind of went for. And most of the time it's between 5 and 7 years, but in the last 3 console generations it's basically been about 7 years. So what's kind of your take on it only being maybe a 5-year console, considering price and technology and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's like it depends on how fast technology is moving these days. So I feel like we're kind of hitting a good medium of graphics and performance, like right now. Like maybe it's like an old way of thinking, but it seems like we're getting quite good now. Like, do we really need another console in 5 years?
Yeah.
Like Jesus, it feels like I don't know. It felt like a long time for the PS4 to be their life cycle. So I don't know. And it's still getting some really good games being released on it, like that are able to handle the old software and hardware. I feel like that's too short. I feel like it should be maybe extended to 10 years. Like, what do you think about it?
I think it's not surprising. I think the fact that the PlayStation 5 has had so much hype, there had to be a downside to it. But I think 5 years is, I don't know. I think people are kind of like, oh, the longevity of that doesn't seem very long. But then it's only like, what, a year or two behind the other consoles?
I feel like you only start getting the proper next-gen games about 2 years into the life cycle as well.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe that'll improve. Maybe they'll do what they did with the PlayStation 4 and kind of bring out like a pro version or an upgraded version of the PS5 to extend its life cycle.
Maybe that's what it could mean. You know?
I would assume so. I mean, Xbox has a habit of just being like, hey, if we're going to release a new one, it's going to be an upgrade. Whereas PS4 to the PS4 Pro was kind of like, it's a bit cooler, but it just sounds like a rocket ship.
Yeah.
I mean, that's about it. So, I don't know. Maybe it's a downside for the PlayStation. I don't know. Maybe.
It could be. I mean, I guess... we still want to know more about the PS5, never mind whatever's coming next at the moment.
Definitely. But the last
wait and see for that one.
The last thing that I want to talk about is games that are coming out this month. So, obviously, the day we're filming this is the 1st of August. Where the hell's the year gone? So, let's talk about some of the games coming out of this month. So, Horizon Zero Dawn on the PC. That's finally releasing. With all the DLC, it's a complete edition, so you get that.
Yeah, we seem to be moving away from all the like exclusives now, like proper exclusives. Like after a few years, they seem to release on PC, which is a good thing, I think.
I think it's nice that they're not just sticking it on with it. I think they also see the potential in making a lot more money from it as well.
Yeah,
that's an obvious one.
It's like, why not? You've got a game there, you just put it on a PC as well.
Yeah, exactly. Madden NFL 21, no one gives a shit.
Moving on.
Wasteland 3, that comes out on the August 28th. It's a really big kind of... it's like the original Fallout game, so like Fallout 1 and Fallout 2, kind of like a top-down survival RPG game. I've briefly had a little flinting go of Wasteland 1 on the Xbox One.
It's because you're playing Borderlands there.
I know, literally. It's okay. It's not my cup of tea personally, but I can see the appeal for it. I know that's actually coming out on the Game Pass, so
yeah,
there you go. If you've got the Game Pass, you get a new game on day one. And then there's like a full list by here. So you got Fast and Furious Crossroads is going to be coming out on the 7th.
Yeah, I never heard about that.
Yeah, I mean, it looks interesting. I wouldn't say no, but I don't know if it's like a great one. There's a couple. There's Final Fantasy: The Crystal Chronicles. That's remastered edition. That's coming out on the 27th to Switch and PS4. Serious Sam 4 is coming out this month at some point on PC, but there's no actual date to it. So a classic first-person shooter. And there's like a bunch of then smaller kind of games. You know, Risk of Rain 2, a Total War Saga Troy, like a bunch of little ones. But the article will be down below. Feel free to have a shift through that. But a couple of good ones coming out this month. So if you are still in a local lockdown, plenty of games to play.
I've got my Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, that is still the addiction right now.
Yeah, we've got to get that ripped out.
That. Oh Christ, you've got a whole fucker. What the fuck? You've got like all of them done. I'm struggling.
Like, got very lucky. But how? A bit of luck and a bit of skill.
Yes, definitely. But yeah, is that it for gaming?
As far as I'm aware, I'll have a think. We might come back to it, but shall we move on to films?
Yeah, I have nothing.
Oh.
Actually, nothing for this week, sadly. I haven't really watched anything. So.
Well, I watched last night. For some reason I was in the mood. I haven't really been in the mood to watch films recently. I don't know what it is. Like maybe I just can't concentrate on things for more than 20 minutes. A match of Dead by Daylight.
Yeah.
But I watched The Belcom Experiment last night. That was written by James Gunn of Guardians of the Galaxy, and he worked on The Avengers as well. That's a very good film. I enjoyed it. It's kind of like I don't know if you've ever seen it. battle royale in an office space type thing. It's very interesting. Yeah, I recommend it. I heard of it, but I never like paid any attention to it because I didn't know what it was about.
What was it called again?
The Belko experiment.
Oh.
Um, yeah, it's like 90 people in an office, and they basically get told only one person is surviving it at the end. And if you don't comply and start killing your colleagues, then they will start killing people for you with an implant in the back of their head, and it explodes.
That is not pleasant.
I know. So yeah, it's kind of a mix between Hunger Games and Saw.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Play a game.
Do you want to play a game?
But yeah, it's also laced with kind of dark humor and stuff like that as well.
As I'd imagine.
For example, there's like a kill in like a bathroom stall or something, and then it just zooms in on the side like, "Please leave clean for the next person."
Oh, damn, that's evil.
Bit of dark humor in there.
That is.
But yeah, I enjoyed it.
I'll have to look at that.
Did you finally get around to watching the generic opera repo things?
I've still got a bits and bobs to watch of it, but
Yeah.
I've watched the majority of it. It's good. I love it.
It can be cheesy, but hell.
Yeah, I love it. It's literally just, I don't know why it's a dreadful movie, but I just love it.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. So
I'm looking forward to the Umbrella Academy season 2. I believe it released yesterday, Friday. So I'm looking forward to watching that soon.
That'll be a good one.
Yes, I definitely enjoyed the first one.
I'm gonna be at some point watching through Mission Impossible's 1 to 6. So I recently bought them on like the cheap, like the box set. So that'll be good. I've never ever watched any of them, so I'm looking forward to that. That'll be interesting.
I started on the third one.
Apparently, the one where Simon Pegg's first in it, so it works well. That's fun.
Yeah. But they're all pretty good. They're all, yeah. Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Does all his own stunts.
Yeah, he broke his foot on one of them, didn't he?
Yeah. Such a small man.
Oh, and he's like a badass that does all his own stunts and kicks ass all the time. It's like, my God.
Yeah.
I think like in a bit of trivia before we move on to the last bit is in Fallout when they were filming with Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill really wanted to do the Halo jump with him, but Tom Cruise basically told him, "If you do it, we'll die because you're not trained." So it was like Tom Cruise did it, but Henry Cavill didn't. So it was like, oh, Mr. Fucking, he does all his own stunts. But
it is a badge of honour to be able to do it all yourself.
Yeah, definitely, he is one of the hardest working actors I reckon out there.
Yeah, so committed. I suppose that was kind of a light for the films and games, but
it was, yeah. Apologies, but this
week
has been a quiet one.
It has. We'll move on to the interesting stuff if you like.
Yeah. Anything that you've got, my dude?
I have got something that I thought of before. I haven't really done any research on it, but I just wanted to talk about zoos. And are they a good or a bad thing? So, I'd argue that the benefits of zoos is the fact that people can get up close to nature and see things that they probably would never see out in the wild, I suppose. For example, elephants and stuff like that, if they didn't want to go on a safari.
Yeah.
It's there's a lot of zoos, the good official ones, do kind of conservation work, and they kind of help endangered animals and stuff, and they'll give them a home and try and promote that species so that it's not endangered anymore, which is quite a good thing, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about? Do you think there's any benefits of zoos?
The thing is, they are classed as a tourist attraction, and
Yeah.
I get it. I think zoos are a good idea, like you said, for endangered animals, especially because breeding them and being able to bring that kind of back to life. But I think there's such a bad stigma around zoos and stuff now. Like, so many zoos do not take care of the animals properly and are just underregulated and understaffed. And I don't know. I personally, I don't know if they're a good or a bad thing. I wouldn't say I'm indifferent. I lean more towards not wanting zoos to be a thing. but I understand why there are, because there are certain domesticated animals that cannot be let into the wild, so they have to be kept somewhere. I absolutely think that's a fair enough thing.
And a lot of the staff at zoos are very passionate about animals. They really want to look after the animals. So yeah, you can't really knock that. But I mean, every time I've been to a zoo, and I went to Chester Zoo last year with my family, every time I've been to a zoo, it's always like a really great day out because you get to see all these things. I love animals and stuff like that. But then you kind of think about that side of it.
I think it
they're
became
actually
a much...
all in cages.
Yeah, I think it became a much bigger topic after Tiger King.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's something that really brought it to light of, a zoo is really a bad thing, and not every zoo is like that. Like, not even close.
I mean, that's America as well.
Yeah, most zoos are absolutely fine. I think I've only ever been to one zoo in my life. I went on a school trip when I was in year 6. I remember it. I've still got the photos of it. It was a wonderful time. Monkeys were climbing over the bus. It was amazing. But I think as long as the places are looked after, they're regulated, I think it's fine. I think that's kind of my stance on it. But if they're found to be dodgy and sketchy, then they should be shut down. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Find another home for those animals where they'll be safe and looked after properly.
Oh yeah, I mean, Tiger King definitely opened my eyes up to what the trade of tigers and stuff like that, and how they're actually kept in those roadside zoos, which I don't know why they're allowed to exist, and the whole kind of puppy, the kitten petting kind of thing.
Yeah, breeding just to have the baby.
I didn't like that when they're all just playing with the baby ones.
Yeah,
and, the amount of fame and money and women they get from that.
Yeah, it's
absolutely abhorrent.
Yeah, it's not nice. I definitely do not agree with that.
And that's just focusing on one aspect, like just tigers. How many more roadside or kind of black market zoos are there that you can go and be with the animals in closer than you would in an official licensed zoo?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. That kind of stuff definitely shouldn't happen. But if it's like you say, if it's like something like London Zoo or like a big proper zoo that's regulated, got restrictions, has a number of staff, specific staff for specific areas, working with animals, they're trained. Yeah, absolutely fine.
And the animals at some of these zoos, they seem quite happy, and they've kind of replicated nature for some of them. They've got massive kind of pens for them with all kinds of for the monkey cages in Chester Zoo. They've got loads of different equipment that they can climb on, and they get unlimited access to bananas and food, but they love
bananas.
And they seem to love it.
Yeah. They seem happy, which is the main thing. As long as they're happy, I ain't got a problem with it.
Yeah, to some extent, I think some species are kind of more tolerant towards being in enclosed environments rather than different ones. And I mean, monkeys are quite happy to be looked after, I think.
Well, we did develop from them, so it explains a lot.
It's just give you some more food. We'll perform.
Want your banana. Stop waving your banana in my face. I don't even want it. Whoops, just kidding. I got it.
I'll just play with my own shit and throw it out the window. It's fine. But yeah, there's also aquariums come under that bracket as well. There's a really good documentary a few years ago called Blackfish about SeaWorld and how they mistreat the killer whales there and stuff. And I believe they only have or maybe I think they've banned killer whales in SeaWorld altogether now because they used to train them, but the chemicals in their brains were different from ones in the wild. Some species just aren't supposed to be in cages and caught and enclosed. Because it turned out that the killer whales were friendly 90% of the time, but then sometimes they used to attack the handlers and kill some of them.
What was the documentary called?
It's called Blackfish.
Oh right, okay.
It's a very good documentary. It shows kind of a different side of the happy SeaWorld America.
On Netflix.
Yeah, it used to be. I don't know if it still is, but
I'll have a look now. Yeah,
it's a really good one. Recommend watching that.
I will definitely be looking into that because I love documentaries and stuff like that. So that is right up my alley. Yeah, there it is. It's still there.
These were the
it focuses on a couple of killer whales that are there and how they behave in enclosures and how they have attacked their handlers. And I think one of their handlers got dragged underwater for about 2 minutes.
Shit. See, man, some animals are just not meant to be kept in captivity.
I know.
Don't be fucking stupid with it. Have certain animals, fine, whatever, but animals like a killer whale. No.
And they're supposed to have like a dorsal fin that's straight, but every single one of them that are in enclosures, they were like
Yeah.
closed down.
Yeah. I wonder why.
So it just proves that it's just not natural.
Yeah, there's certain animals that just cannot be kept in captivity because it is not safe for them. Even if you treated them the best that you could, they're just not designed to live in that kind of environment. They have to be let out into the open ocean to live.
Yeah, it's why you never find like a great white shark in well, maybe some in America, but you never find them in aquariums around here anyway, because they're just not supposed to be captured.
Yeah, no, they're not.
Because I think they've tried before, but they just die within like a week.
Yeah, because they're not designed for it.
No.
So, yeah, I mean, it's sad, but there's certain animals you're just not meant to see. People, get over it.
And
if you want to go see,
we'll have to
see.
we'll have to do a deeper discussion on like the whole vegan opinion on it.
Oh fuck!
I forget a vegan. But I didn't do enough
next
research.
Week. The vegan discussion.
The vegan discussion. But yeah, I think that's a separate one.
Yeah.
Because we're both meat eaters, so we're happily.
I have done a vegan diet, and I've done a FODMAP diet, and I have opinions on both. Not all bad. Absolutely not all bad, but they just weren't for me. Not my thing. Right.
I've got family members who are vegan. I enjoy a lot of vegan food. It's quite nice, no offense. What am I even saying? People can live how they want to live, with their diet.
If you're not hurting anyone, who cares? Yeah.
As long as they don't try and force it down your throat, it is fine.
Yeah, exactly. If you're a vegan that tries to force it down my throat, fuck off.
Militant vegan.
But if you're just someone that prefers being on that diet, absolutely. You have every right to feel that way. I enjoyed my time on a vegan diet, but it just wasn't for me. My body could not function with it. So,
if you're standing in a supermarket shaming people for buying cow's milk, then no, that is not a good way to go.
Expect to wear the cow's milk.
Imagine that. This is blood. Just get like a hose of milk. Hose them down.
Okay, well, I do have an interesting one this week. I only have one, but it's something that someone actually said to me on Twitch while I was streaming, and I kind of wanted to throw it out here and kind of get your opinion on it. So I'm not going to name the account or the person or anything like that. You'll see
Bob.
Just what they said. Bob. They shall be known as Bob. So these are the comments that I got. So I got asked, do you network with other streamers? I replied with no. They went, all you need to do is pop into chats and get to know them. I said, not for me, not my thing. I just kind of like sticking to myself. I enjoy streaming, having my friends watch me, that kind of thing. If it blows up, great, 10 out of 10. If it doesn't, I'm not bothered. And then they replied with, why do something with such an active community then? That confuses me. So what I found interesting about these comments was the fact that just because I don't try to network and go into other streams and talk to people and try and make friends with other streamers, that it doesn't make sense for me to stream. That's kind of what I got from it.
Right.
I don't know kind of why that's a thing. All of a sudden now everyone has to network and talk to random strangers and stuff. I mean, I get it. If that's for you, watching streams is not my thing. I mean, Christ, I met you through my stream, literally.
Yeah.
And I think
one of the things I liked about watching your streams is it wasn't like any other streams, like just, trying to get likes, trying to get donations, trying to get everything. Yeah. I prefer a smaller scale streamer.
I again, like, the thing I replied with it was mostly that I do it for fun, I do it because I enjoy it, and it's kind of like a thing of where I get to hang out with my friends, and if random people follow me and they enjoy it and they become part of that little community, great, awesome, more than happy. But for me, I am not interested in networking and finding other streamers to play games with and stuff. That's just not my thing. I am very much an introvert, not an extrovert. So, not for me. But I kind of, what's your thought on that idea of like people sort of seeing more now Twitch not so much as a hobby, but a thing that you have to network from and become part of like this big society and stuff like.
Yeah, it's like it depends how seriously you want to take it. If you like really demand to be, the most well-known streamer going and stream yourself having a dump, and then you can have millions of followers.
Yeah.
then if you want to do that, then you have to network and treat it like a business. But if you just want to do it like a hobby, and doing it for your friends and just getting the occasional follower and people seeing the genuine you, then just do it for however you want to do it.
And it kind of took me back a bit. I was a bit like, wait, just because I don't network, you're confused at why I do this? Again, no hate to this person, by the way. They did actually follow me, ironically. So,
yeah.
But, I mean, no hate at all. But I just found it such an interesting thing now that when it comes to YouTube or streaming or even doing a podcast like this, people just immediately assume that you're trying to make a career out of it, and you're trying to push that boundary of you have to do this to be able to do what you're doing. And that's not the case at all. Okay, I never networked once and then I hit 100 followers out of nowhere. It just happens. It's luck. There is nothing else to it. You can obviously network and push it like a business, but I'll be honest, I'm too lazy. And I don't want to. I tried that before. Not my thing.
Yeah. It's like, just do it how you want to do it. Yeah. There's no rule book for Twitch, really.
Not at all. There's one thing I learned from my mistakes on it is do not treat it like a job, or you will hate every second of it.
That's the thing, that if you do something for fun as like a hobby and then you try and turn it into like a business thing, then it ruins your enjoyment of it like completely.
Oh, absolutely. Because you put so much pressure on yourself at that point as well.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I have to do this. You don't have to do shit. Just do what you want to do and have fun. If you're having fun, great. If you're not, then don't fucking do it.
Yeah, it's like you set too high expectations of yourself, and then other people expect things, and then it's like too much pressure, like a pressure cooker.
Yeah, exactly. But I'll be honest, that's all I've got for this week.
Oh, we're around about an hour mark.
These are getting shorter. Right, I promise next week I will have a lot more stuff to talk about and work on, but it's
all right. An hour is a good amount of time to listen to us waffle, honestly.
I think as well as that, again, as me and Sean have said many times, because I have been asked this by people, is why do sometimes you talking for longer, why are you talking shorter? We address this all the time. We are not going to force this to be longer if it doesn't need to be. There is no point. And then, as we just spoke about, it's not fun anymore.
We like to keep it kind of natural, but at the same time, we do have a little bit of a schedule to follow with some like notes and stuff.
Yeah.
And if we run out of notes, it'll just kind of just talk about it. It'll just like turn into us just talking as friends, and like you really don't want to hear some of the things we talk about randomly.
There is a reason that my funny montages are so short. There are jokes that I cannot put in there. I can't. So, but
no reason at all.
No reason at all. Just I can't put them in there. But I mean, again, I have a lot of fun doing this with Sean, and I want to keep it that way. Okay, it's going to stay that way.
Yeah. Whether it's 1 hour, 2 hours, half an hour, 3 hours.
Yeah. I mean, I am sure there will be a podcast that we do that is going to end up like super long. We're going to be after like 3 hours. Like, why are we still talking? That just hasn't happened yet. I think if it's a quiet week as well and nothing happens, or we don't watch any films, or we don't play that many games, like, what are we meant to do?
We're firm believers of quality over quantity as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We want to keep it all fresh.
Indeed.
Not drawn out.
Agreed.
But on that bombshell.
Yeah, on that note, we'll end it there. So thank you to anyone who has listened, watched, or streamed, or whatever you've done with this podcast. But thank you very much. Again, thank you to Sean, as always, for joining me for this. It's always fun. I love talking to you. It's always good to catch up. And yeah, a bit of a shorter one, but we hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Yeah, we'll catch you in the next one, which I might have a chat about Sean about doing a live one again soon, just for all time's sake. But we'll see. Because now I can stream just this, us talking.
Yeah.
So that could be interesting. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But thank you again, everyone, and goodbye for now.
All right, thank you. Catch you again.
Bye-bye. I got stick fingers. It's weird.
Like, how big does my hand look there? It's like bigger than my head.
Alien fingers, like E. Bye.